Computer.
Okay.
Okay. Hi, everybody. Welcome to our Tuesday Transformations. This is when we are better together because we share stories with each other to inspire, to help us get our motivation revved up, and to just see how things are going for everyone. Before I have our first guest tonight, I just want to remind you of a couple of things. First, I know I don't look like Dr. Joe or Rhonda. I'm not. I'm Elizabeth Grant-Gibson, one of the health coaches, just back from vacation. Just back from convention. So if I seem a little giddy, that's why. I've just spent 4 days with 11,466 people trying to change the world. I also want to remind you, tomorrow night, Wednesday, same time as this, we have our Habits of Health webinar so that you can learn something great for helping you on your journey, followed by our trilogy call. I would highly recommend you watch that. It's other people's stories and also talks a little bit about why they have decided to help other people along the way. So that being said, I'm going to jump right in and introduce our first guest, and that is Brent Suker. And Brent, take it away. I know you're traveling.
Howdy ho, everybody. I hope we're all doing well. I'm actually very excited about this because when I recently found out that I would be sharing, immediately what came to mind was something new since the last time I checked in. So just to give you guys an idea, I started my journey somewhere around a year ago at this point. And for the first couple months, I really had tried a whole bunch of stuff on my own. I did keto for a couple months, all the way until about Christmas, and then that derailed, and I put all my weight back on pretty much immediately over the holidays. And so, I shared my before picture with Elizabeth over the weekend when we were at the convention together, and it really sinks in when you see that. And so, leading into the beginning of the year, I was like, all right, this is ridiculous. I got to do something. So I reached out to my coach and I said, I'm not in a hurry. I know this stuff normally takes time. And I don't care if it takes me 5 years. I need to get this squared away. And that person was Dr. Joe. He said, you know what? I think you'll be surprised at how easy this is. I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to commit to doing 30 days, and I'm not going to screw around with the system. I'm not going to try to rework the wheel. I'm just going to follow program to the T. I did that, and I was surprised that I had lost about 10 pounds in my first month. Some people lose more, some people lose less. In my personal experience, that was my time frame. But I didn't feel like I was doing any work at all. I stuck to the program. I ate my fuelings. And it was so simple that I was like, I think I can keep doing this. So fast forward to today, I'm down over 50 pounds. I'm extremely excited about that. My wife is extremely excited about that. And it's so funny because I'm traveling now. I'm getting ready to head to the airport in a little bit. I was with Elizabeth over the weekend at convention. And what blew my mind was I actually had my dress clothes from back when I worked in corporate America that at the time, little truth be told, I couldn't actually get the pants buttoned. I just kind of put my dress belt over where the button should go. And all of my clothes were literally falling off of me. And to add even more emphasis to what was going on, I had accidentally taken a belt that I purchased several years ago on accident at the wrong size. I couldn't even get it closed. I think it was like a 42 waist. And when I put it on a convention, I'm like, oh, maybe this will help me keep my dress clothes up. I had to bring it in 3 notches. And so there were 2 things back to back this weekend that just really blew me away. And so when I finally started getting that success was when I was more honest with my coach. Every time I had a hiccup, I reached out. I said, hey, you know what? This was my weekend. Didn't go so good. And I found that when I started doing that, the pounds started shedding off. So I can't complain. I got about another 60 to go, I'd say. And, in my mind, as long as I'm at that point by 2020, That's okay. I'm going through oh, you know what I got? I got the Habits of Health 2.0, the book that just came out this weekend, and I'm loving it. So with that new book, I do like a page and a half a day. I'm filling it in, and I'm learning those micro habits that, Lord willing, by the end of the year, maybe even, or beginning of 2020, I'm at my goal weight. So that's my recent story and update.
That is fantastic. And you cannot minimize the importance of those non-scale victories. And thank you so much for mentioning 2.0. I will talk to everybody about that a little bit more. But meanwhile, be safe, go do wonderful work, and we will see you on the next event.
Thank you so much for having me on. Sorry I have to jump off so quickly, but
Thanks,
I appreciate you guys, and thank you for joining me today.
Take care. Take care. Okay, so what he's talking about is, I know that all of you who are on this call are very engaged in all four components of our support. And one of those is our educational component, the Habits of Health system. What is really exciting is that, we've been using that system for 10 years. It is amazing. Dr. A has been working for the last 2.5 years to incorporate everything that we have learned over those last 10, 12, 17 years that this has been going on with the coaching and helping people. And so there's a lot. He's done a 2.0 book. It's something else very special I'm going to mention. The 2.0 book does a whole lot more with mindset, because guess what? We've all figured out that these are the 6 inches that are the issue. It's not the ones in other parts of our body. The other thing that came out with it is the Life book. And it's big, it's fat, and it's a combination of information and journaling in a very deep and personal way. And this is truly making a difference for people. It is, it's amazing. I think this is going to be the real game changer for people on our program. So I am muting everybody. If you are not muted and you are not speaking, go ahead and mute yourself, although I think I just grabbed most people and muted them. Those books, technically, they're not quite available. They sort of are available. The coaches got to have them in their hands. And as of August 1st, you will be able to order those. You can order them attached to one of your Premier orders so that you don't pay additional shipping. Or if you are too anxious to wait, you can just jump right out and order them and pay the shipping. The set of books will be $49, and it will be one of the best investments you've ever made in your life. So I am going to go on and introduce our next person. And this is interesting because, wait, I got to find her to unmute her. Can't make this slide up and down. Grace, are you on there? Can you unmute yourself? I'm getting ready to introduce you. She's talking, but she's not unmuted. Here we go. There we go. I gotcha. Okay. So let me introduce Grace. Grace and I worked together on her health journey back in 2011. She did fantastic. And she's here today to talk to us about this next phase that she's at and what her journey has been and how she's done. So Grace, would you talk to everybody?
Thank you, Elizabeth, and thank you for accepting me again so that you can coach me back to health. As Elizabeth told you, we got together in 2011. I had seen Elizabeth's picture in the paper numerous times and was so impressed and inspired that I wanted my journey to be like hers. So I called her one day and we got together, and my goal was to lose 50 pounds. I was 202 pounds when I started, and when I got past my goal weight, I was 142 pounds. So I lost 60 pounds. And I love wearing a size 8 in slacks and some jeans that I had bought 20 years ago that are size 10s, which have gotten a little snug now. So fast forward, I followed the program 6 months, the weight just fell off of me. I exercise still. I ride a stationary bike 25 minutes a day. So I've continued to do that. But in the past 18 months, I've had slippage, I guess you would call it, or gainage or whatever, and I'm up 20 pounds. So I called Elizabeth or sent her a text and said, do you still coach? And she said, yes, I do. And long story short, we're together again, and I'm waiting for my order to come in. They say it'll be here Thursday. So I will start on program on Friday and look forward to losing 25 pounds and going back to 140 pounds so I can wear those size 10 jeans.
It's really about reusing the wardrobe, let me tell you.
Absolutely. Well, the styles come back, and so I have clothes now that I've had for 25 or 30 years, and they're in style again. So it's a good thing I have lots of closets in this house.
It is. Well, the reason I asked Grace to come on tonight is that I wanted to really show you that when you embrace the full trilogy of optimal health, when you really engage with the education and you stay connected to your coach and with the community, and you truly make this a lifestyle change, it works. And you don't turn around and gain your weight back. If you go carefully through transition so that you recalibrate your metabolism, you don't just start grabbing something high glycemic that your body is not prepared to handle, but you go through the transition, you keep that basic healthy framework and those most important habits, that weight loss, it's there, it's done. And when it's very funny because when Grace contacted me, we got on the phone and I said, okay, well, let me ask you, we did a health assessment again, and some of you have done that with your coach before you got started. And I said, so are you still continuing to eat, 6 small frequent meals? She said, well, that kind of has gotten away from me. And I think it was maybe the hydration also had kind of gotten away. But look, she has created this amazing long-term habit of daily exercise, which is fantastic. She has obviously not been making choices to move her way far away from her goal over these past 8 years because she maintained her healthy weight for 6 or 6.5 years. Yeah. And then when she started creeping up, she made some efforts to kind of bring it in check, but found that it just didn't work as well as our program and working with a coach and all of that. So I am delighted. Remember, the time that we least want to reach out our coach, and Brent alluded to this too, we are happy to tell our coach when we've had a great week. But we really don't want to answer that phone call if we've had an issue or if we are planning to have an issue. We don't want sometimes to be talked out of that. So that's when we most need to reach out to our coach. It's never going to be about judgment. It's going to be about what do you want and how do you want to move forward. So Grace, thank you so much for being on here. I really appreciate it and can't wait till we just zip you right through that again.
Absolutely. And I have learned that I don't want to do this 6 years from now. So I'm going to stay with 6 small meals, hydrate, and continue to exercise. And at 81, I don't want to do this again, which is what I'll be 6 years from now.
I was going to say, she's not 81 now.
No, I'm 75 now, but I want to keep it under control. Right. And it's time. So I've learned a valuable lesson.
Right. And I would expect for her that at 75, that weight will likely come off about as fast as it did when she was 67, minus the fact that it's 25 pounds versus 60 pounds. But,
yeah,
they're really, age is just a very small factor in any of this. So you really should lose at a fairly steady pace, no matter what your age is. All right. I am going to mute you, Grace. And I am going to introduce, so I better, no, you can unmute yourself, right, Sandy? You're very with that. Okay, so the next person I'm going to introduce is another long-term friend of mine. We have been in and around this program and these people and Dr. Joe and Rhonda and this whole group for a number of years. And so I want to introduce Sandy Seibert, who has such an amazing and powerful story and who's going to talk about the next level that she's been inspired to, and in particular inspired by a Habits of Health webinar call recently. Sandy, are you there? Are you unmuted?
I'm here. I'm unmuted, and just want to say thank you all. I think Elizabeth actually is probably having me on so that nobody feels bad about how many restarts they've had on the program, because I've had dozens and dozens of them. I found this program 9 years ago this month, and I am so grateful for it. And the all of the components that we have, I have to say, Elizabeth is so right, that education piece is super important, but in the beginning of my journey, it was the one that I was least willing to pick up. I remember I got the videos, the books, and as soon as Dr. Anderson said, this is all like, we're going to learn this like the Kaizen, and it's all about learn, do, review, adjust, repeat. And I'm like, what? I just want to learn it and be done and learn it and live it. But it is not like that. When you've lived with the diet mindset, and we live in the world that we live in, that's very fixated on doing something today, having a cheat day tomorrow. It takes a lot. And the valuable community that we have is really something, the piece that's made a big difference. And Elizabeth, I was thinking back, I'll never forget the first time that I knew you. I had seen some of your transformation pictures, and we were at an event. I don't even know where that was. And from the audience, Dr. Anderson came out, and I heard you yell, "We love you, Dr. Hay!" And it was just amazing. And then just seeing you this weekend, I mean, it definitely got me. It was just very good, very emotional weekend. I spent a lot of time really, feeling great, being in a better place than I have ever been, as a result of this program. And I really do too, like Elizabeth alluded to, I really think it kind of recalibrates our body and gives us an opportunity to know what it's like to have real healing going on. And I just never, I felt comfortable where I was. I had lost quite a bit of weight, and had then never really transitioned the appropriate way, was on the 5 and 1 for a little bit, and then kind of doing my own thing, and then hop back on and then do my own thing. And that was really the form of how I was maintaining my weight loss. And gosh, I heard this support call from Craig Blanchett at the beginning of this year, kind of like probably Marchish. And I'm going to share it. I'll share it in our page. But it was, it's about longevity and where the rubber meets the road. And he basically talked about having our low healthy set point and our high healthy set point. And there is a 10-pound thing in that, and just like a 10-pound range. And he goes on. One of the things that he said that really hit home with me is that our weight does not equal our value. And I have grown up my whole life having my value hinged on that number on the scale. And when he talked about how all that is it has to do with what you weigh here on earth, with gravity, in there. And that really spoke to me a lot. And I realized at that time that I do not want my value any longer based on what that scale tells me. And I also wanted to get to the place where I felt really good because I knew that I was at a healthy BMI. So I decided to go for it. And one of the things that he mentioned in that is that how possible it is. It's so possible for us to reach that healthy weight and stay there. And he talked about you give yourself that limit. And when you go above that, or you start getting close to that, it's really having a contract with yourself and come to terms with, if we were really living that macro habit of being at a healthy weight or heading to a healthy weight, then that would mean we were doing that. And if we weren't doing that, we just had to be honest with ourselves. And maybe we had a lot more of the little micro habits to install. Like we needed to use Stop Challenge Choose, or we really needed to use our community more, or our coach, or really weigh and measure our lean and green. And that's what I decided to do. So March 4th, I got back on program 5 and 1 to head steadily towards my healthy weight. And at this point in time, kind of like Grace, I was just like, I hope, I've messed with it for so long. I hope it works for me. Well, there is no question. The 5 and 1 it's just the bomb. I mean, it just is the greatest path ever. And so I'm just about ready to transition for real for the first time. And I'm really excited about that. And I know that I'm also facing to start doing some serious food prep in my life. And so I'm trying to wrap my head around now, how can that be fun? How can I make that enjoyable versus have it be a chore? Because it's going to have to be part of my life as I move forward. So I guess that's really where I'm at the moment. That call was such an awakening, and there's so many more pieces in that recording that I just encourage everybody to check it out and to plug into as much of the support as you can, for sure. What I've really enjoyed too is, we've got a lot of people in our page and Forever Healthy, and I've got a lot of people that have linked arms with me, but they're shy. I got a lot of shy people that don't really get out and share. But I mean, I really enjoy having the opportunity of sharing the journey with others, and I love to. I really like how we celebrate each other, and I just hope that we can all, I just don't want anybody to be stuck like me and really have your value wrapped up in the weight. And I just want us to all celebrate all of our successes, because there's so many more than just that scale and being down. And I really recognize this weekend too, just going to convention, how much this community has kept me going. It's kept me strong. People have seen things in me that I have not been able to see in myself, and it's just it's taken time to get where I'm at, but I'm not giving up, because Grace, this is what I love too. It's just the path is always clear for me now, and all my 30 plus years of dieting, I would step off the path because of a cheat day or cheat meal or, cheat whatever. And then I could never find the path again. I never had a group I could come to and post, and I never had a coach I could call, and I just never had something that I could just like rip a packet and eat it, and I could go to bed on program even if I struggled all day long. So, and I didn't have a book I could open either. So I'm very grateful for the whole thing. And that's it. That's my story. That's where I'm at now. I'm excited to check back in when I'm transitioning and hopefully let everyone know that it's just smooth sailing, because I'm pretty stoked to bring it back in some black bean hummus, because that's one of my favorite recipes. So
she's got to get through transition for that.
I do. Yep. But it's coming.
Do you want to mention to people how much you have actually lost?
Yes. As of my weigh-in Monday morning, I'm down nearly just about 165 pounds. So
that's amazing.
Crazy.
That's
crazy.
Amazing. It is.
Thank you.
Yeah. And, I've been doing this for 12 years. She's been doing it for 9. I had a long, steady 10 years where I just maintained down a couple hundred pounds, maintained within 20 or 30 of that, and have restarted to finally do that last part, because life is so much better when you've lost 100, 200 pounds. It's pretty easy to say this is good enough. But you know what? Healthy is good enough. The healthy BMI is good enough. And you know what? I see some new faces on here tonight. And I think, let's see, Gail, you're new tonight, aren't you? Are you one of Brent's people? Say hey to everybody. All right. I have you unmuted, but I don't hear you. So I think your microphone is not on your computer. And now you froze. We can't hear you. Just give us a big wave. Give her a big wave of encouragement, everyone. Is there anybody else who's new? Raise up your hand and I will unmute you. Anybody? All right, well, let me tell you what, to me, of the 4 components, which include your health coach, the habits of health educational system, the healthy fuelings that make this so simple and convenient, and the community, to me, the community is almost the most important of it all. It makes such a difference if you engage with us, if you hang out on Forever Healthy. And one of the nice things about speaking on this and sharing your story is that it gets you ready to share your story with more people, because we need to spread this word to everyone. And every one of us who understands what we have and are having success, please tell some people, tell some family, tell some friends, let them know. Send them to your coach. Your coach will either take care of them for you or show you how to take care of them with her help or his help. But we have got to reach a lot more people. So I'm about to stop the recording. Any last way? Let me unmute all. Let's see if I can figure out unmute all. Oh, I unmuted all. Any last anything? If not, just okay. Betty, go ahead.
One thing to say, because I know you have a favorite as far as one of the components. This was mentioned in the seminars that at one of the talks this weekend is that if you just stay with one component, like if you just do the food, basically your chance of success long term is only going to be 25%. If you add in the coach, that's 50%. If you add in the education, 75%. But if you add in the community, where all components, your 100% chances of being successful long term is, like I said, obviously 100%. Yep. So basically, just taking on one component is not going to allow for success long term on this program.
Right. That's what it takes to make it a true lifestyle change. So I'm going to unmute everybody again so we can just say good night. Good night. Good night. Hope you'll see you everybody. See you Wednesday and next Tuesday.
All righty.
Good night.
Good night.